findings. Alison Madueke says she went to the UK to receive treatment for cancer. So looking at a set of things in Nigeria. President Bola Tinubu said on Monday during his inaugural speech that his government would review the policy on the redesign of Naira notes initiated by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. The Naira redesign initiated by CBN in October last year caused severe hardship in the country before the Supreme Court intervened in March and pushed forward its implementation till December 31st. The president said whatever merit it had in concept, the currency swap was too harshly applied. In the meantime, the administration, according to the president, his administration will treat both currencies as legal tender. The president also spoke about measures to build the economy and improve the gross domestic product (GDP) of the nation. Let's hear from President Bola Tinubu.
On the economy, we target a GDP not less than 6% growth. We aim to accomplish all of this by taking the following steps. Budgetary reform, stimulating the economy without engendering inflation. Industrial policy to utilize the full range of domestic manufacturing and lessen import dependency.
That was President Bola Tinubu regarding improvement of the economy and improving the GDP of the nation. Still in Nigeria. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria has opposed the plan by President Bola Tinubu to enforce his predecessor's decision to remove fuel subsidy by June ending. Tinubu had on Monday in Abuja affirmed that his administration will stop continuing to pay subsidy on petroleum products. He said given the high opportunity costs the federal government was suffering to fund subsidies, it was no longer justifiable to continue. Therefore, the fuel subsidy is gone. However, the National Public Relations Officer, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Chief Ukadike Chinedu, said the new government should dialogue with the marketers before taking the decision to remove subsidy. He said the refineries should be fixed before such a decision is taken, which will cause galloping inflation and inflicts more hardship on the masses. Looking at further talking points, the former Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, has said the public debt remains sustainable as the country has adequate capacity to repay its debts. While speaking at the valedictory ceremony in Abuja, Ahmed said, despite revenue challenges, the government consistently meets its debt service commitment, while post-financing assessment showed adequate capacity to repay loans. However, speaking previously at the launch of the World Bank's Nigeria Development Update titled, The Urgency for Business Unusual, the finance minister admitted that Nigeria struggled to service its debts. She said, already, we are struggling with being able to service debt because even though revenue is increasing, the expenditure has been increasing at a much higher rate, so it is a difficult situation. Those are the concerns within Nigeria, as the minister said, a little here, a little there. Let's look at further talking points. The federal government is targeting a $4 billion revenue, about 1.84 trillion naira, from the ongoing concession of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, and the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport, Kano. According to a statement issued by the Head of Press and Public Affairs, Federal Ministry of Aviation, Oluseyi Odutayo, the ministry called for the cooperation of Nigerians towards the successful concession of a major airport, stressing that the expected gains of the exercise were enormous. It would be a good time to move to global economy and look at economic data all around the world, from Asia to Europe and Africa. Beginning with economic calendar this morning, the expected data releases for today, Tuesday 30th May 2023. The economic calendar. The economic calendar has shown some positivity on one hand, and the outlook of the calendar has been that of stupendous impact. For Japan, as at 12:30 a.m., unemployment rate came out at 2.6%, getting better from the 2.8% it stood previously and above consensus outlook and focus of 2.8%. Also looking at further outlooks, there were job application ratios in Japan. 2:30 a.m. had building permits month on month according to preliminary estimates in April in Australia at a negative 8.1%. Let's talk about Japan's unemployment rates. Japan's unemployment rate dropped to 2.6% in April 2023 from March's 14-month high of 2.8%, less than market forecast of 2.7%. The number of unemployed decreased by 150,000 to 1.8 million, while employment rose by 130,000 to 67.44 million. The labor force fell by 20,000 to 69.26 million, while those detached from the labor force increased by 110,000 to 40.88 million. The non-seasonally adjusted labor force participation rate went up to 62.9% in April from 66.2% in the same month the previous year. A year earlier, the unemployment rate was at 2.5%. Meanwhile, the jobs to application ratio stayed at 7-month low of 1.32 in April. Let's move to the chart to see Japan's unemployment rates. What the unemployment rate outcome has been over time in Japan. As of July 2022, unemployment stood at 2.6%. It had maintained that level for so long, but dropped to 2.5% before returning to 2.6% and stayed there as at October 2022, before returning to 2.5% and 2.4% in January 2023. It further went higher to a peak point of 2.8%, previous standing before dropping to 2.6%. Let's also look at countries with the worst unemployment rates in the world. Countries with the worst unemployment rates in the world, according to the National Bureau of Statistics, data from different countries. Well, here is the top 11 countries with the worst unemployment rate in the world. Senegal at 22%, Jordan 22.9%, Rwanda 24.3%, Switzerland 24.4%. As we talked about Japan, Japan's unemployment rate is at 2.6% comparatively to mostly these African countries. Though Jordan is not an African country. Palestine 25.2%, but going further, even South Africa 32.9% and Nigeria 33.3%, indicating difficulties in terms of employment in this country. Nigeria, according to the 2020 record, has the worst unemployment record. Unemployment rate in Nigeria increased to 33.3% in the fourth quarter of 2020 from 27.1% in the second quarter of 2020, according to the National Bureau of Statistics, Nigeria. Since then, the unemployment rate has not been updated. Let's talk about Kenya now. The Central Bank of Kenya kept its benchmark interest rate steady at 9.5% at its May 20th, 2023 meeting, as widely expected, saying the impact of the further tightening of monetary policy in March 2023 to anchor inflationary expectations was still transmitting in the economy. Policymakers added that this action would be complemented by the recently announced government measures to allow duty-free imports on specific food items, particularly sugar, which are expected to moderate prices and ease domestic inflationary pressure. The annual inflation rate in Kenya dropped to a 10-month low of 7.9% in April 2023, mainly due to slowing food prices, but remain above the 7.5% upper limit of the central bank's target. Although food inflation is anticipated to be moderate in upcoming months, Well, let's get to the market then, to the chart rather, to see the standings in this one. What the chart is saying regarding the interest rate in the country. According to interest rates in the country, as at April 2022, it was slightly below 7%, but it went further upward. Interest in fighting inflation. Interest rates as at October of 8.5% and currently 9.5% in the country. It would be a good time to look at the commodity markets and talk about the energy markets. Oil gains on US debt ceiling optimism. WTI crude futures rose above $73 per barrel today, extending gains from the previous session after the US government reached a tentative debt ceiling deal, alleviating market concerns about possible defaults in the world's largest economy and oil consumer. Still, investors remain cautious as a sluggish economic recovery in China clouded the demand outlook. The prospect of higher interest rates, particularly in the US, also continued to weigh on markets. Let's move to the markets, the energy market first, and afterwards metal market to see the standings in the morning market. Energy market has shown some negativity for the top crude, which is US crude, West Texas Intermediate crude oil at $71 per barrel, dropping by 1.38 points, a negative 1.85% decline for Brent crude, which is $75 Nigeria's price benchmark, dropping 1.06 points, a negative 1.3. Market is changing fast, a negative 1.46% decline. Let's look at the agricultural market and the metal market afterwards. The metal market first. Our gold price is $1,944 per ounce, gaining 2.1 points this morning. Silver also gaining slightly, $23 per ounce. Copper, a little here, a little there. Steel price has gained 18 points this morning, 3,521 Chinese yuan per ton. The agricultural market. The state of things regarding the agricultural produce have been that of negativity in the market this morning. $1,321 per bushel is the price of soybeans, dropping 15 points, a negative 1.12% decline. For wheat price is dropping 6.42 points, a negative 1% this morning, $610 per bushel. Palm oil also dropping 129 points this morning, a negative 3.64% decline. 3,415 Malaysian ringgit per ton is the price of palm oil. To the foreign exchange market. The South African rand was trading around 19.7 per US dollar in late May, not far from a recent record low of 19.8, and down about 7% against greenback this morning and this month. Prolonged power cuts have negatively impacted the economic activity and contributed to sticky inflation in South Africa, leading to a significant depreciation of the currency. Furthermore, compounding these challenges are a recent diplomatic issue with the US over South Africa's ties with Russia, and remarks in a latest monetary policy statement that the South African Reserve Bank expected further currency weakness ahead. Well, let's get to the market and see the standings in the market. The euro against the US dollar first, and afterwards we'll say the state of things with the naira. The foreign exchange market this morning has shown continuous decline for the euro against the US dollar. 1.06 is the mark, falling away from the 1.08 last week, and the struggle continues for the euro. For the pounds against the US dollar, it's dropped away from the 1.25 mark and is currently 1.23 point, but a slight gain this morning, but no significant difference. Let's look at the performance of the naira against the majors. It's been a huge decline for the majors. The naira looking stronger amid the announcement of a new president. While US dollar against naira is 460 naira to $1 at the international exchange window. A slight decline for the US dollar. For the euro against the naira, similar story, 493 naira equaling €1. A slight decline for the euro. For the pound, is a similar story, 568 naira equaling £1. Let's move to the black market. But before we talk about the black market, let's see the standings in the market, a 1-year period for the Naira so far, how the performances had been in the last 1 year of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. As of July, Naira's price was below 420 against the US dollar, but it kept weakening, moving upward to 460 Naira to 1 US dollar. And this year, 2023, Naira has been pretty stable at this level, 460 Naira to 1 US dollar. Let's talk about the black market then and see what the outline is in the black market. In the black market, the dollar to Naira, while Naira is doing well at the international and exchange window, Naira is doing badly in the black market against the dollar. It's 770 Naira to $1 in the black market at the buying rate and 765 Naira to $1 at the selling rate. For the pound to Naira, it's 955 Naira to the pound at the buying rate and selling rate 937 Naira. For the euro to Naira, it's 818 Naira, equaling 1 euro at the buying rate and selling rates 805 Naira on the average to 1 euro. Here's where we draw the curtain in today's edition of Business 360, looking at the state of things in the economy and a new hope for Naira and the Nigerian economy with the administration of Bola Tinubu. Thank you for being a part of it. My name is Blyden Okem.